What's your name? Where are you from? And what do you do?
My name's Jonny Virgo. I'm from Reading, but I live in South London, and I'm an MC and producer and educator.
Obviously, I know you've been around for a long time. Do you want to give us a little bit of background?
So I started doing this just as a freestyle MC with a crew called 360 Physicals, which used to congregate on London. It was kind of that golden age of UK hip hop where there were the record shops, there were the Hall of Fames. We used to come together in those spaces, make beats, rhyme, ciphers, little mixtapes. Some legendary names came out of that crew: Killer Keller, the Flairdy Cats, who went on to be DMC champions. Me, myself, at the time, I was always freestyling. And over the years, I've got into writing music, recording music as that form of creative expression.
Going back to the day that you kind of joined up with 360 Physicals, do you remember how that came about?
Do you know what? That was a completely different time. If you look back at pre-internet, people used to congregate through the hip hop connection forums, and I wasn't even into it. But like, I had a friend. Shout out to DJ Lexki, who was always instrumental in my journey to joining 360 Physicals. Um, People used to connect via the forums at the back of the magazine and say, I'm a DJ looking to partner with MCs. I'm a graffiti artist looking to partner with graffiti artists in the area. So that was what was happening. And as a result, we kind of linked together, formed something called Platoon Crew, formed something called Frontline that led into 360 Physicals that I think captured a vibe at that time.
What has kept you going to this day? Because it's been like over 2 decades now. It's like 25 years.
Do you know what? I believe that the scene is a holistic entity that needs different kinds of energy within it. I love seeing other people do well from different aspects, but sometimes you see that there are things that you want to exist. And I run a podcast myself about Black history, and I interviewed an actress the other day, and she said, "Why did I create that thing? Because it didn't exist, and I wanted to exist." And that's really the thing that keeps me going. Like, the amount of times you could say that I've decided I'm just going to do this for me. But actually, I found something that I think needs to come into existence that I decided I wanted to make.
What kind of changes are you hoping to make with your podcast and your music?
Projects I've got coming up, generally around trying to maintain that balance of positivity. I think it's so easy in this world to sell negativity. It's so easy in this world to sell drugs, sexuality, and violence and egotism. But we all have that aspect to us. But I believe as balanced individuals, we've also got aspects of positivity, connectedness, kindness, compassion. I believe we can spread that through music. I believe that in my experience, when I've done shows here, there, and everywhere, it's been a case of people come up to me and say, "Oh, I love that song you did about revolution." I'm thinking that song was about getting drunk with my friends. But that's what that person got from it. They got this idea that we can do something positive together just by coming together and making this music.
Give us 3 words that define you.
Creative, compassionate, individual.
How's your podcast going at the moment?
The podcast is going really well. We're 7, 8 episodes deep. It's called Black in the City of London, and it's aimed at fusing together the historical legacies of things that have gone on in the past. Of course, we're talking slavery, we're talking colonialism, and seeing how that fits together with the modern day, with people who are trying to break through and set trends in the city today. I've actually started a project that connects the two, because obviously every time I start something, it's like a new reality, a new job. So I started a project that connects my current music with that idea of dealing with colonialism, dealing with slavery. So that's due for the new year. But in the meantime, I've got an EP alongside a great producer called Mango Vice, called Space to Breathe, that's going to drop. Masters should be winging their way to me through the internet today. And of course, my album More Love, More Power is out right now.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
This is always a hard one because I'm one of those people with a mercurial sense of what I want to do. I will be creating things. I see a lot of people in the scene, and I think they get typecast into being what they are. Maybe they came with the aim of being a commercial entity as after being a creator. You know, you start out creating and then you want to make earnings from it. But really, I think we're creative beings. We all have different outlets. I'll definitely be making music. I enjoy producing. I might produce some other different genre. I definitely will be making this hip hop that I make as well. I love that boom bap sound that originates in jazz. I love those piano samples. 90% of my beats have piano samples. Yeah, so I guess where I'll be in 5 years' time is having released several more albums, maybe written a book or something, continue with this podcast. The creativity is something that kind of it exists beyond us, doesn't it? We've got to keep going with it.
Imagine if I'd asked you that question 25 years ago, and would you have kind of seen yourself being where you are now if I asked you that question back then?
You know what? 25 years ago, I had 1 year where I set goals with 360 Physicals. I was like, we're going to do shows in 3 countries. We're going to do this amount of shows in the year. And we did it. And to be honest, I wasn't the person that set those goals individually to do with music in other ways. I set them to do with, family, or to do with life, or to do with other aspects of career. I'm an educator, like I said. But I wouldn't have been surprised because I didn't have that defined plan. So I think sometimes trusting the process and going through with it and doing the things you want to do can be fulfilling.
Talk us through your creative process and how you trust that.
Creative process can be very spontaneous. I like to freestyle, so it can be something that just happens in the moment. And I'm talking about whether that's writing or whether that's making a beat. I might make 10 things and choose the best 2, and I might make 10 things very quickly. Or it can be quite meticulous. I have songs that are older than my children, and I just haven't got the version that has satisfied me yet. And I think the song is going to be great when it's finished, but it's not done.
Going back to 360 Physicals, do you feel you achieved what you set out to achieve, or do you feel you could have done a lot more? Is that going to still carry on? Because I know a year or so ago, there was a few things being released and there was bits and pieces coming out, then it just all went quiet again.
360 Physicals was also always a loose collective of individuals making music, representing hip-hop culture. Our goals were never necessarily for us to push that in a way that involved all of us. It was more of a loose collective. So I kind of feel that we did achieve what we did by launching so many people on their path. The album we dropped was something that I was definitely proud of. I got involved. That was kind of me really getting a lot of songwriting chops. I wrote a lot of hooks as well as my own verses on that. And I was really proud of how that came out. We've sold the vinyl. People have come up to us and said, this is representative of us. This is what it feels like to be someone who was into hip hop at that time and has grown with it. And this is an album that represents that in a way that maybe someone else hasn't. So I think we achieved something with that album. Would it have been great for that to have been the launch of us all coming together to be a group? Maybe. But of course, circumstances intervene. We've got to say rest in peace to Coasty, who passed away recently. We've got to say, other aspects of the group, we need to be happy with what we've sort of got to. Because I think sometimes in life, you just got to turn around and think, well, we did that. We did that. What's next? We're moving on.
How's being a family man affected your artist life?
Do you know what? Like, I'm either in bed by 8 o'clock or I'm awake all night. Literally, I have those 2 extremes. And if I'm awake all night, that's when I'm writing, that's when I'm recording, that's when I'm making beats, that's when I'm even connecting with people. Now, the other side of it is like, okay, you're working, you're balancing everything. Yeah, sometimes it's just like, okay, I'm in bed. And I guess hopefully some of the songs reflect that balance between like, okay, we're out here, we're trying to go after this goal of creative satisfaction, of trying to put what you want into the world. And at the same time, you've got to just understand that there's more important things in life as well. For me, there are more important things in life. So it's that balance. And I believe that balance is healthy. And I think that actually hip hop kind of lost this balance of being from a place, being from people. And that's what's turned rotten in it. And we see that in the things that go on and the things that are in the public eye and in the news. We don't even need to talk about the names.
Okay, so what can we expect from you in the future? You mentioned you got this EP.
EP with Mango Vice. He's just a guy I bumped into on Instagram. He's a wicked producer. If you like boom bap, piano-led beats, Mango Vice, we've got this EP, provisionally titled Space to Breathe, early 2025. After that, I've got some tunes coming together with some more known producers, I guess you'd call it. They're great producers, heroes of mine that I've been working on. And the album titled Knowledge Keeps You Blessed will be out sometime 2025.
Do you have any final things you want to add?
Yeah, big up Blade and 521. Big up 521 for representing UK hip hop, people out here who are trying to create and trying to represent themselves through the artistic expressions that they bring to the world. I think it's important that we have the balance of having that reality, not just what is shown the light. Sometimes the things that are in darkness can bring something to the table. And I know that sounds like, yeah, I would say that, wouldn't I? But it's what I believe, and I think it's the ultimate truth.
And finally, where can people find you?
Yeah, at Jonny Virgo Music. It's on Instagram. Jonny Virgo Music's on YouTube. Those two places. I have a website which has, products. Give me money. JonnyVirgo.com. Big up 521 all day.